Welcome, everyone. I am John Ryan of SportsMemo.com, and you are at Manny's Irish Pub Sports Betting Show. And this is where we all get together in a more relaxed type of structured show. It's like popping into the pub. That's what we try to create. You get done work, and the next thing you think about maybe is putting some money on a game and finding out what your buddies are doing. And it's even better with us because we truly love what we do. We've been doing it for a very long time. And we all have mutual respect for each other. So if Dr. Chuck tells me, you know what, I don't think you should bet the Astros tonight, I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. I did take it on the chin last night. I had won 7 in a row in the NHL, 22-6 in the playoffs. My first 5%er of the year went down in flames. I was on the Lightning. A couple of my prop bets won, though, but still lost it. The Lightning were outplayed in that overtime period too, and we can all cry about the officiating and the controversial decision, but I don't really see it that way. It's just Colorado is the better team. They're more rested. They're stronger. They're faster in the third period and the overtime periods, and Tampa Bay is showing the grind that the Rangers series took out of them, and every series before that as well was not an easy one. And Colorado's just been the best team all year, so they probably win it tomorrow night. But we're going to save that topic for tomorrow. What I want to talk about, guys, real quick before we get to the NBA part, because we got to definitely pick Tony Mejia's mind here. He's a former CBS Sports national beat writer, and kind of talks to a lot of important people. And I'm sure he's hearing some rumblings on what's going on. And I know Dr. Chuck and myself are significant Sixer fans, and I just feel that they're going to find a way to screw it up. In fact, I said it the day they got Harden. They screwed everything up. They sold the future, and now here we are. But the first thing we're going to talk about, since I'm talking about things all over the place here, is the Houston Astros are in the Bronx tonight taking on the New York Yankees, and this is a 4-game set that could easily be the ALCS later in October. Baseball is a marathon. We still have a long way to go. There'll be injuries. There'll be players recovering from current injuries and a whole myriad of other events and the trading deadline. So it's not in stone, but these guys both have double-digit leads here in June. Basically a 99.5% probability that the Houston Astros make it, and currently right now it's 100% that the Yankees are in. So in this matchup, though, I was very surprised to see the line basically at pick'em. The Astros were plus 120 this morning. Granted, their starting pitcher is pitching extraordinarily well, probably better than he has at any point of his career, and that is Valdez we're talking about. And then we have I never pronounced his last name correctly. How do you say it?
Tyone.
Tyone. The L's are silent, correct. Tyone. As
It'd be
opposed to
harder to
Talon.
say it, to mispronounce it. Talon?
Well, you could say Talon.
No, it's Tyone.
I like getting it right because it's just a respectful thing to do.
Very much so.
Another pirate that is excelling in the pinstripes, right? And we talked about Cole last week, and it's just and O'Neal Cruz in 5 years. But
this week's Pirates aren't like last week's Pirates, though. They're actually fun to watch.
Now with O'Neal Cruz in there, you got Aaron Judge playing short from the left side. You're not going to play like the Pirates anymore.
Yeah, he was offered to me in a fantasy league that I'm in, and I declined only because it was like I was trying to sell off a bunch of assets, and the offer was a good one, but there was no sure thing that they were going to bring him up because he was supposed to be up in May or in April. Well, and then obviously they sent him down too.
I talked about that on D'Amico's show. Is like he started the season in the top 10 for Rookie of the Year odds, and we're like, he didn't even make the roster. I mean, we know the promise, but you make the roster, and it's a tricky thing. And then you had to, I wanted to put that future out there from jump. I didn't put it out until Sunday when it worked out at 7-1. But I mean, he's not gonna win because there's injuries and there's stuff that can happen and stuff like that. But yeah, whether or not he wins Rookie of the Year, he's not gonna be a Pirate when the 2030s start, right?
Probably, right? Yeah. 1 for 4 today with a double, and they got my guy Cucupita Marcano, who's on the COVID list right now, but he's solid as a rookie. They got Slawinski, leads all rookies in homers.
When he just changes everything about that, he improves Sawinski's at bats, he improves Chavis's at bats, he improves Brian Hayes at bats. Brian Reynolds should only go up from there in the 2 spot. Like the whole lineup just gets better. It just may not be pitching.
Yeah, it'll be fun. They'll be fun to watch. Quintana pitched decently today. He's kind of a bit of a rebirth for him this year because he was terrible the last couple of seasons. So I mean, at least a reason to watch the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah. And back to the Yankees and Astros about that line, since that game isn't going on right now, right?
It's not going on right now. Nope. Well, my thought is that the line is telling you to bet Houston because it's too easy to bet the Yankees. I have close to 75% of the tickets are on the Yankees, rightfully so. I mean, that's your knee-jerk reaction of, oh my God, I'm getting the Yankees at minus 125. Well, now you can get them at minus 115. Not a big deal, really, but seems like the bigger money's coming in on Houston. And, guys, people forget, Houston got out to a really slow start, but since that slow start, they basically have matched what the Yankees have done over that same time period. And then you have the Atlanta Braves. You have the Phillies winners of 15 out of 20, despite losing 2 in a row to the Texas Rangers. They're out on the West Coast against San Diego tonight, but you know that I've been talking about this analytic. When teams in the month of June have outscored their opponents by 100 or more runs, Yankees are 143, which is really, really outstanding. And by the way, you may not know that this is the fastest any team in Major League Baseball has made it to 50 wins in more than 20 years. It's the best start since 1998 for the Yankees.
Yep.
And they went on to win the World Series that year. And that was the Subway Series, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well,
so that 1998.
That might have been the Padres.
I think that was the first one they won. So it was, or was it the mid-90s that they won that first one? First one in my lifetime, because
I think
grew
first
up
one
a
was
Yankee fan without a title forever.
I think 98 was that year that Bochy and Tony Gwynn just got there, and that was all. Subway was 2000.
Yeah.
Yes, that's accurate. Yep. 98 was Charlie Hayes, I think, recording the last out.
Yep, that is right.
Ended my 20-year run of no championships being a Yankee fan.
Well, that was also the year that the Mets and the Yankees combined had the largest win percentage of any 2 teams that played baseball in New York history. Of course, Mets fans do not like the Yankees, and the Yankee fans do not like the Mets fans, and I understand why. But as a city, that's pretty cool. The Dodgers and the Angels can't say that. They haven't been in the same city very long, but Anaheim is basically Los Angeles. I don't care what anybody says. So I guess you could say they've been together for a long time. But no 2 teams have ever done that in any sport. I mean, look at the Jets and the Giants. Oh, they've done it the opposite. It's probably the worst 2-team in one city record of any sport in any season. Point being, the Yankees are off to an awesome start. And the fact that they have outscored everybody by this much, they are on the cusp, kind of like when Bitcoin was at the peak. I'm not saying that the Yankees are going to crash, but I think they're going to have some. They're gonna tread water. Like if they go 500 and you bet against them right now, you're going to make a lot of money because they're going to be minus 175 and higher just about every single game, with the exception of the Astros. So that combination of betting against teams that have outscored their opponents that are favored by minus 150 or more on the road has produced very good profits over many, many seasons. The Yankees are home, and if they are favored by minus 150 or more, it's not quite as good. But in this series against a team like Houston, if Houston's a 140 dog or more in any of these remaining 3 games, I can tell you right now, I'm on them. So we also have my good friend and pal, Mr. Finn, in the house. I just saw him there.
There we go.
I didn't see you backstage, sir. My apology.
All right, I have a question for you then, John, and
Yep.
Tony and Tony. You brought it up that they're going to hit plateaus. Futures, I'm really big into futures, and I'm really big into midseason futures because it's like live betting. I like finding that type of value, and an O'Neal Cruz comes up and he's still plus 750 or like 8 to 1 or so. Those are the type of spots I like to look for, especially against pitchers. But the futures right now on the most wins in all of the major leagues is 105, and I find that to be incredibly fishy. For quick math, and I just want to get what you guys think on that. Quick math: the Yankees have to win 58% of their games rest of the way out. 2 teams have done it each of the last 2 full seasons. 5 teams have done it each of the last total in the last 3 seasons. I don't know. I don't understand why it's such a bait. Over 105 is plus money. So I don't know. I think if the Yankees go 106 and 56, I think the fans are going to consider that a failure. And so I'm wondering, why is that the number? And I guess this type of, you said fastest to 50 wins, and I suppose people think it's an aberration, but I just find that to be, nuts.
I'll start. I mean, they play in a tough division, and they played a lot of really bad teams early. Maybe that's why. Again, I'm in agreement with you. I think that they've overcome the fact that they're, thanks to guys like Clayton Holmes, that their bullpen has dealt with injuries. I mean, we've got Aroldis Chapman on the injured list. Loaizaga, he was terrible when he was up, and then he got hurt. Now they'll have him back, and if both of those guys pitch to their level of expectation, then they should be really good down the stretch. They still have series against the Orioles and Royals to close out July after the All-Star break, so that gives them an opportunity not to have a lull, coming out of that. Just playing devil's advocate, they could struggle in mid to late August.
Yeah.
You got series with the Rays and Jays and Red Sox.
Well, and you don't have to play devil's advocate. The books are. I mean, it's crazy, right? That's what I'm trying to dig into is where's this line coming from? And I don't know. It struck me as something that is either being maxed out at $50 or
what is the current pace? I think 117 or so.
118.
121. Okay, 118.
So, but it's interesting. You mentioned the Orioles. Tony Finn like this. I was playing around with fastest to this, fastest to that. The Orioles are 30 and 30. Well, actually, they're 31 and 39 right now. So I asked the database, how does that compare to previous seasons? This is the fastest the Orioles have gotten to 30 wins in at least 5 seasons. And believe it or not, in 2 of the last 5 seasons, it took over 100 games for the Orioles to get to 30 wins. Yeah. Now, I know anybody who follows baseball even casually knows that the Orioles have had tough seasons in the past. But when you put it in that kind of perspective, that it took over 100 games to get to 30 wins, and now it only took 69, they are monumentally better. And they're not the doormat that they once were. The Yankees have to play them. And it's a brutal division. Every team in that division now is good. And I don't care that they're 8 games under 500. I think they're going to give the Chicago White Sox are underperforming like no other team in baseball. 1 game under 500 is inexcusable, and that manager should be fired too. Tony Finn, I forget who that manager is, but I know you don't like him.
Not my dad. Not my dad.
I think you might have the same.
But how
name
come he
as
keeps
Al
his
Parcells?
job and a guy like Girardi gets the axe? I mean, there's no consistency in firings. You fire Girardi and you fire Joe Madden, you got to fire this guy in the White Sox.
You don't fire La Russa.
Well, you got to dismiss him or something, or put him in a rehab, or whatever.
Every situation, first and foremost, when you take a job as a major league skipper, it's the first day. Once you sign the contract, it's the first day until you get fired. And that's life as a major league manager. There typically isn't a rhyme or reason to why they're fired. Sometimes there is, many times there isn't, and it's typically situational. So in Philly's case, I think that was probably, and you know better than me, I just think that was a long time coming. I thought the way Girardi reacted to that and responded to it and publicly addressed it was admirable and almost choreographed, almost like this. He'd written this speech for when it was coming. Tony La Russa is a different situation. Tony La Russa probably shouldn't have been hired. That was a situation where he was already involved with that front office. His foot was in the door. He got in there, and you and I and the gang here can give him grief for not knowing the rules of extra innings, et cetera, and some of the things that have happened since then. But
mid at bat walks.
Yeah, listen, that minute back walks, though, if every pundit I've talked to, metrically, strategically, absolutely made sense.
Yeah.
Made sense. Yeah. Okay. As far as the Yankees go, I looked at their schedule. They don't have the easiest schedule. Of course, as Tony referenced, they play in the AL East, tough division. Here's the caveat. And here are some of the – here's the first thing I'd say. If the book put it out there and it's not, Joe Blow from Costa Rica or Panama or something like that, then by golly, you pay attention to it. I pay attention to that. You're paying attention to it.
Exactly.
What's the history? What's the history of a team that has a 15-game lead in a division going into the final month of the season? A lot of these little variables go into play here. I mean, those are the things I'll be looking at. And if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
It usually is. Well, and two of the things that you just spoke of, La Russa probably shouldn't have been hired. I don't think Renteria should have been fired. And the Phillies, as far as the Phillies go, they're not. I mean, this is the same organization that, so we talked about Sixers earlier. Obviously, I am a Sixers guy. We don't have basketball here. I'm Bengals and Reds otherwise. But which is kind of obvious. It's Clayton Kershaw day here. So anyway, but this is the same team that fired a guy that went 500 and they gave him one shot, like the Hugh Jackson. And we're seeing what Gabe Kapler can really do. And, I'm a Gabe Kapler homer, but the dude can manage a team. Yes, he does it different. Yes, he's unorthodox. That doesn't work in Philly. What Philly wants is Doc Rivers. I understand. But
they got Doc Rivers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is, and
they got him,
and we're keeping him. But at the same time, they're like, holy shit, we had Gabe Kapler, and then we went about face and got Joe Girardi, and this is what we got. We really screwed the pooch on this one, and so I mean, I think Tony said it was a long time coming. He only had the job for 2 years, Well,
I'm saying I don't know that it was a long time coming. I just am reacting to his reaction. It was he was, like I said, he basically got in front of the microphone and said, "Listen, I'm rooting for them. I like them. I never heard him say, now he may have. I've never heard him say this happened because of this or that. That was never even talked about that I heard of.
Will we ever see a manager that's had 4 different jobs? No one liked him at any of the stops. He always had a winning record and everyone hated him and he always got canned. Whitey
Herzog, they didn't like people liked Whitey, but a lot of people didn't like Whitey, and he had a lot of different jobs and was successful at most of them. Kansas City, St. Louis. He had several, I don't know where. I know he had another one, didn't he? Have someone he coached before that too.
And I suppose if you were,
but they didn't like him. People didn't like front office people. Whitey kind of walked his own walk, and he did things his way. It was his way or the highway. So
I suppose it's hard to be the manager of those 3 franchises.
I would say so. Yeah. Philly, New York, Boston,
Chicago Cubs,
Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's a murderer's row of being a manager, but he never fit in.
I mean, the White Sox have for 2 straight seasons now. They overcame a lot of injuries last year. They have not performed above and beyond the pay grade of the players they have. And first off, listen, they have a good pitching coach there. Giolito's a mess. Let's just say it right now. If you watch him pitch his stuff, he has nothing. He has zero. He doesn't know where he's throwing the ball, and when he does, it's the movement he does have seems to be a magnet to the middle of the plate. He's finished. He's not in the same category as Corbin. If you saw him pitch, this guy's all but done.
Yeah.
But it's Washington, so they're not in any hurry to win games right now. They're not going to win anything really. So I don't know. I would say this, Manny. That's a tough gig. A lot of people didn't like Billy Martin. He managed a lot of places, but Billy Martin was pretty successful too.
He was successful getting fired 3 times by the same owner.
Well, I know. Listen,
They were the greatest commercials ever.
Yeah, they were. They loved it. I like Billy Martin a lot. Yeah.
Less filling.
How about the best something that none of us should ever forget. At least I won't ever forget it because I happened to be watching the game. I was actually watching the game live, and that was when George Brett got called out for the pine tar. If you remember that, my goodness gracious! I thought. Listen, George Brett's not a nice guy. My wife knows George pretty well, and George. No one likes George Brett. No one likes George Brett. Not even his kids like George Brett. And I'm saying that I'm stretching.
Sounds like a problem.
Well, George he's pretty straightforward and a little abrasive.
Yeah.
And he's still angry because for the first 10 years of his career in Kansas City, he was single, and he was gay George at that point in time. He was boy George. So everyone thought he was gay. Now he's got 3 kids. That doesn't mean he's not. He doesn't prefer. Switch hit. He didn't switch hit at the plate, but So wherever I'm going with this is
I'm waiting.
Where I'm going with this
there's a lot of there's a lot of guys. A lot of people don't like me, and when they say, I don't think I like you, I say, get the F in line. A lot of people don't like me, so if I'm gonna worry about that, then I'm in trouble. So, and I think these guys are too.
I know another situation that's in trouble, and it's the Philadelphia 76ers. And, I'm going to segue into this NBA draft. I know you guys have that WagerTalk show at 6:45 Eastern Standard Time tonight, 45 minutes ahead.
Yes.
I do think the first pick is scheduled to go at 8 o'clock, right?
7:30? 7:30?
First pick goes at 7:30?
I think that they'll probably do a little bit of a pre-draft deal, but I would say by 7:45 we're going.
The clock is pretty fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it sounds
how
like
about the odds?
Tony Mejia, you have to tell me if what is it to just take Jabari, Chet, Paolo? It's probably like minus 500 to take those 3 in a row.
Well, I never even saw those the top 3 in a row. They were up probably for a small time because I wrote a column on Tuesday, and that's when I really looked at it. I wrote a column last week, kind of previewing the draft, and then on Tuesday, looking at what had happened over the weekend, where Paolo Banchero suddenly became, whether it was a betting syndicate that pushed it to get Jabari Smith's odds down and take advantage of that, or they legitimately put money in there thinking that Banchero would be the pick. And there's still people speculating that Banchero will go number 1 and end up with Houston, that Houston will trade up just to ensure Oklahoma City doesn't get him. But I don't buy that theory because I think Orlando will just stick with Jabari Smith. That's been the rumor since they won the lottery in late May. And then you get Holmgren going to Oklahoma City, where they embrace players with the highest upside and aren't really looking to win immediately. And that's continued for the past 2-3 seasons. And then Banchero ends up with Houston at number 3. Yeah. And Houston obviously wants him. They worked him out in Memphis, where he was holding his workouts, and immediately traded Christian Wood to Dallas later that evening. So that was a huge tell there. And so that'll be the top 3, but I never saw odds on that. And this morning,
I just wondered. I just wondered because all you keep reading is that those three teams are digging their heels in further and further.
Well, you remember last year, Tony? I didn't think it went to form exactly last year either. I mean, it just didn't.
Last year it went to form first three picks and then the fourth
Exactly
pick
right.
was a curveball.
Right. Yes. It wasn't perfect form. First 5 picks.
Have you seen the odds? Though the swings have been big.
Yeah,
with
huge.
Jabari and Paolo.
Yeah.
So it looks like Paolo's going to go number 1 now.
Well, no. Jabari Smith. That was overnight. Overnight, Paolo Banchero became the number 1 pick favorite. I think as much as minus 200. And then this morning, Woj reported that it was Smith at 1, and immediately DraftKings went to minus 6,000 on Jabari Smith. So and then FanDuel took their odds off the board, and so did BetMGM. So, but yeah, BetMGM they had it at minus 1,600 for Jabari over the weekend, and then it came all the way down to 140, 135 as of Tuesday. So that's when I wrote there's value on Jabari Smith on Tuesday, that the value continued to increase to what you saw last night, John, where it was Paolo Banchero as the favorite to go number 1, and then the Woj report blew that all out of the water, and now you can't get Smith at a you should bet.
It's funny that you said DraftKings at that number because on Monday, they called just correlating this to the funny things about how fast you can make your bets now. O'Neal Cruz gets called up, fanfare, hits that 3-run triple in left center field, and Mackenzie Gore and Spencer Strider and Nolan Gorman and a couple others that are all ahead of him. DraftKings just took Rookie of the Year off the board.
Yep.
Wow.
Now FanDuel has Jabari at minus 280.
It was offered day and a half. Yeah.
And Banchero at plus 200. So they're clearly tuned into that rumor that the Rockets might go ahead and trade up. DraftKings also now has number 1 pick odds up, and Jabari's at minus 390.
Yes,
so
he is.
If you're betting Jabari Smith, I guess the best price is certainly at FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, DraftKings, they have him minus 390, Jabari, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, it was minus 6,000 this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. That was put him at minus 6,000. Let's regroup.
Yes, exactly. Right. No doubt.
I have a question for all of you here, and I know Dr. Chuck will have a lot of emotional passion involved with this question. Why does Daryl Morey have this need to trade up to get what? Like, I did this research on the consistent characteristics of NBA championship teams, and they have the greatest variety of shot makers. You can have a grab and shoot guy, you can have a set guy out there in the perimeter, you can have a power center like an Embiid, in the paint, but you need all of those variables. But what are the Sixers missing? They are missing a jump catch and shoot guy, right?
There's not a guy.
They traded their catch and shoot guy, which.
Well, yeah. I mean, how stupid is that then?
Yeah.
It makes no sense they did so far.
If we, I love the Sixers, and I think Joel Embiid deserves everything that he could get. There's not a guy. There's not a guy out there. It doesn't matter the way that the playoffs went. I mean, Jimmy Butler and Spo and Riley are going to go get themselves a Beal, and once they do, the Sixers are number 4, and it's not even close after what the Celtics did, and there's not a guy out there. I mean, the Sixers could go get Beal. That doesn't do anything. Harden, Beal, and Embiid is not beating any of those teams, and it's just there's not – I don't know. I think Morey needs to there's not a guy. There's just not a guy out there. I mean, you trade everyone that you have for Luka and pair him with Embiid, and that's about all you got.
Well, that kid from Australia that was playing in the G League, I believe. I can't remember his name. He is Bradley Beal recreated. So why would you? If that is true, and a lot of people do say this about this young man, if he's available in the draft and you have a chance to get him at 23, why don't you do what the Patriots did in the NFL draft and just let the thing fall into your lap, and whatever falls into your lap, you address your needs accordingly. I just don't. I mean, they already sold the future of the team away when you got Harden. I mean, the 2 number ones are gone, and that's that.
Problem. Okay, so I don't disagree with you, but there was no other option besides having another Australian sit on your bench and never play again. I mean, you went and got the guy you had to get. There was only one guy to get, and it was Harden. I mean, I don't know if we thought it would work, but that was our only choice.
Look, James Harden wasn't 100% during the playoffs. You can tell anybody watching those games, his burst was gone. So do you buy that him being in better shape and 100% healthy?
I do. I do, and I don't want to. I don't want to sound like an idiot, and I don't want to piss off John Ryan. But James Harden's younger than Steph Curry.
Yeah, I mean, I would
somebody takes care of themselves better than the other one.
The main domino that needs to fall is him accepting the shorter extension, because if it weren't for the postseason slump, you'd have James Harden at a max deal into his late 30s. So now at least you have some flexibility.
Yeah,
I mean, simple as that. And it looks like Harden recognizes that he didn't bring it, and he's going to have to take a hit financially on it, and that just is what it is. And then the second variable, I guess, is this Bradley Beal rumor, which would require Tyrese Maxey, and as Sixers fan, I don't think many of you want to deal with Tyrese Maxey.
I mean, I guess when you see what your competition is, if you unload Tobias, Thibault, and Maxey and some firsts just to get Beal on that contract, I think that puts us at 4th again.
There's a lot of depth in this draft, though. Like, I understand the whole Thibault in 23 to try and find a suitor, and they might find one. The Hornets have a couple of picks. The Knicks are looking to move. I don't know who you were talking about, John.
Jaden Hardy
played in the G League is Dyson Daniels, and he won't be there at 23. He's a top.
What about Jaden Hardy?
Ivy?
Who? Jaden Ivy?
Jaden Hardy. Ignite.
Okay. Yeah, that guy's a late round pick, but yeah, he's more of a scorer. And yeah, I think he was on in the showcase at the All-Star game.
Yep.
Because he was one of the 4 guys. So was Dyson Daniels that played on the rookie sophomore teams and all that. Yeah, he's not a guy you're going to plug in and say, give us 10 minutes in a playoff game. That guy's a ways away. But now I know who you're talking about.
But I mean, in terms of strengthening your bench, because that's probably the Sixers' weakest part, is the bench consistency. Don't you think he'd be a guy that could learn as he plays off the bench?
But wouldn't you rather have, if you're trying to immediately be the champion next year, because that's pretty much where we're at here, and if we're going to stick with Sixers, a lot of the mocks have Wendell Moore, and I think that's the right play. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a pretty deep draft. I was reading that there's going to be a lot of teams trying to buy into the 30s because, without a first round pick, because there is that level of depth. So we should see movement there. And then teams in the late first round are going to do the draft and stash, because at that point there aren't many guys that'll help your team immediately. There's just, a lot of projects and prospects with high ceilings. So it's going to be a fun draft tonight, because we should see a ton of trades. Indiana's looking to move Malcolm Brogdon, may move their center. What can't I remember his name?
Miles
Turner. So, we'll see some movement tonight. We'll definitely see draft picks being swapped, and there is going to be intrigue with Jabari Smith at number 1 until we actually hear his name called.
Yeah, no doubt. I usually don't watch the NBA draft, to be honest with you, but I'll be watching tonight, and I'll be in the chat room listening to you guys, break it down. It'll be fun to do.
Very cool. Yeah, Tony Finn will be there. Rob Veno. I think I heard Andy Lang. I know Joe Ranieri's hosting. I'll be there, and whoever else is going to drop in. So it should be a fun time in that chat room. We're come watch the NBA draft with us.
All right, Tony Mejia, what's a big name? I want to hear a big name you think's on the move tonight.
I mean, I think Brogdon is the most likely to be traded, whether that's a big name or not.
Do you think with all these? I think
Jeremy Grant went yesterday. He's a borderline all-star player.
I think that's a big name.
Actually went cheap. Portland traded just a 2025 number 1 pick for him as the big drawing card. Then some swaps and a second round swap tonight. But yeah, it didn't cost much.
Do you think the Kings are taking Ivy?
I think the Kings are taking Ivy at 4. I would make that bet, but I don't think that they necessarily.
I think Ivy could go 3. It depends. There's some question marks that I can't get answered. What's Houston doing with the?
Houston's taking Banchero, so I don't think
so?
he goes. The only way Ivy goes 3 is if somehow Jabari Smith and Banchero are off the board 1-2.
Well, are we certain that Wood's going to be signed? Is Banchero a good fit? Those are my questions really, and because
Wood got traded.
I'm sorry, that's all I meant. Is Banchero going to be the fit with who's there? Do they want that front court guy, or do they want to have Ivy? I think Ivy probably gives with Green. That's a pretty dynamic backcourt for them. So I don't know. I had.
Well, that's what I was wondering about the Kings. Is like
right.
Certain Ivy's going to the Kings. Well, then what's
I'm not quite as confident as Tony. He seemed to be pretty confident. I'm never very confident when it comes to trusting NBA front offices. But
yeah, I think the Kings will go with Ivy at 4, but I don't necessarily think that he's there. He doesn't want to be there based on what he said, and then there's a lot of guys that in key front office roles that agree with me that he's the most dynamic player in this draft. And I know, Tony, you like him too. He's a guy that would not surprise me if he's better than all the big 3 front court prospects and hits the ground running as a Russell Westbrook, Ja Morant type. So from that standpoint, I think it's a good bet. Minus 200 solid value, but is Sacramento going to take them for themselves or for somebody else? And that'll be intriguing as well. And then
you're close to. I didn't interrupt you. You're close to Miami. What are you hearing about? Is Miami going to do? Are they going to make some deals? Are they thinking about trade? I know I read that they were interested in Eric Gordon, for instance. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Miami's biggest domino is that PJ Tucker.
Yeah,
declined his option and is now a free agent.
Sixers.
Basically, they really wanted it. So
that was rumored that he was going to the Sixers.
Whoever gets PJ Tucker gets a guy that can guard, can be a small ball 5, guard anybody on the floor, space out with the corner 3, and is a winner. He's already won a title with the Milwaukee Bucks. So what you're getting.
And that was what did that Wood went did Dallas give up the number 26 stuff they gave up for Wood?
For Christian Wood?
Yeah,
it was
okay. Number 26. Okay, I'm gonna have to run over all that stuff too before the show. But the numbers make sense. I mean, it just seems like to me Houston, by doing that they're not done. Is my point there? I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean Dallas should continue to try to build because it looks like they're going to lose Jalen Brunson. Brunson's going to get paid by somebody. The Knicks want him, and other people are in the market for a point guard. So they needed a running mate for Luka, and they only traded Marjanovic and Trey Burke. So they didn't lose anybody out of their core in that Rockets deal for Wood. So Wood comes in and at the very least is going to be a front court talent that they didn't really have last year.
Yeah, well,
Tony Mejia, if this plays out accordingly, where the Rockets have a choice of Paolo or Jaden Ivey, is it dependent? My thinking is that it's dependent on Eric Gordon being moved. If he goes, let's say hypothetically he goes to Philly, and he's off the roster, are they more likely to take Jaden Ivey if both those players are available?
I mean, look, they got Kevin Porter Jr. as the backcourt mate. I mean, he essentially runs the show, and Jalen Green is the 2. I mean, Green had the ball in his hands a lot, especially late in the season. I mean, he really did a 180 based on his final finishing kick was really strong, but he was a liability for the first half of his rookie season. So you build around those guys as your backcourt, and then you want to plug in a front court guy like Boncaro next to Alperen Şengün, who also is a reason why Christian Wood is no longer there. They want to give him more minutes, and they don't want to be good next year. So that's why they'll probably look to buy out John Wall and look to add another piece in the lottery and then build from there next year.
Is there any chance, and anybody can answer this, I see Chet Holmgren as a guy that could drop because of the lack of size, and I could be just completely an idiot saying that. But at the NBA level, is he big enough, to withstand the physicality that he's going to experience now that he's not in the West Coast Conference? And I mean, could he conceivably drop to a 10, 11, or 12 because of that?
No, not 10, 11, or 12. He'll be the most he'll drop is to 4, because.
So the Kings would take him over anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, look,
he's available.
The upside with him is ridiculous. But he did weigh 195 pounds last season, so I think he's 6'11", 195, and his ideal weight is probably 225 based on to keep his agility. But that putting on that 30 pounds of muscle is going to take at least 2 years. Oklahoma City's the most likely landing spot because they're the most willing to be patient and hope for that payoff. I mean, you talk to anybody, Holmgren is got the highest ceiling in this draft, but he's also the biggest bust potential.
High risk, high reward, right? Well, I know one thing. Blake Griffin was the last player drafted first that wasn't a freshman in college or a high school player. But all three of these guys, Jaden Ivey is a.
Jaden Ivey played a couple of years at Purdue.
Yeah, he's sophomore, so that would end that streak if he would. No, he's not going to go first. What am I saying? Jabari.
Yeah, he's not going number 1.
Right, Jabari is a freshman, and Chet Holmgren is a freshman. Paolo is
a freshman.
Okay, so that streak's going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of those three is going to go number 1. I think that's what you guys have been saying.
Yeah, one of those three will go number 1, and unlikely to be Holmgren. So it'll probably
right. I would say it's going to. You're right, Tony. It's either going to be Smith or it's going to be Machero, be number 1. At least that's the belief. So
now, Dr. Chuck isn't with us anymore, I guess.
He just he had some babies.
If you were the Sixers, objectively speaking, and you're a Sixers fan, what would you like them to do? What would be the home run that would take the futures odds for the Eastern Conference from plus 600 to plus 400 after tonight?
There is no home run move because the home run move is Bradley Beal, but it would require Tyrese Maxey. So that's not necessarily a wash because Beal is more ready to win you a title now, but it definitely takes a dynamic playmaker out of your mix. I mean, you're looking to move Danny Green, who won't play next year, and he's probably done for his career. Given the ACL, and you're looking to package that with some other guys and get some assets from a team that's in a long rebuild that'll take his contract, essentially doing what Oklahoma City did without Horford, for a while there. So and did with Derek Favors as well, when the Jazz unloaded him. So that's the key. You got to move Danny Green, get an asset. You got to add shooting. You got to hope Harden is going to be James Harden again, and the Tyrese Maxey isn't a flash in the pan, which I don't think he is. He's a really good player, great player. And then Embiid not getting hurt. I mean, they'll be in the mix next year, but I know you're in Philadelphia, and there's a lot of panic, and obviously the whole James Harden signing thing is probably talked about 24/7, but. In the grand scheme of things, the Sixers are who they are.
I agree. I agree. And again, I'm.
Who are they?
I like them as a franchise, but I'm more of a sports fan. I like situations like the Cleveland Guardians, for example, with that paltry payroll and maximizing their squad. I love seeing that. And it's kind of why I like the Patriots. And you can hate me for liking the Patriots, but I love that plug and play. Do your effing job, and that works.
Well,
this other stuff doesn't work.
What doesn't work? Well, what does work? First off, what happens if Cleveland seriously backs up in the second half, because they have seriously outplayed their skill set?
They have. And I don't doubt that will happen. But still, with that payroll, which would cover probably 2 of the Yankee players that start every night, I think it's amazing.
Well, and that's relative. I mean, it's just the Yankees have that money to spend. The Cleveland doesn't.
So do the Phillies, and the Phillies spent $233 million, and they were 9 games under 500 at one point.
Yeah, they just failed. They failed in a couple of areas. When you fail, here's the deal, Philly. The bullpen's not very good, and yesterday they cost me again. They're defensively, they're just inept.
They're flawed. They are flawed defensively.
That's right.
I got to get moving here in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Since I got to run a pre-draft show errand. But I'll give out a play, and then anything else you want to go. I got about 5 minutes, and my Mariners, who I have a play in on today, are being no-hit by Frankie Montas right now. So hopefully I'll jinx that.
Listen, yeah, make the phone call then, will you? Montas, man, he's not long for Oakland. He's gone.
But no, of course they have to trade him.
Gone.
And you know what? You trade him after this start because
absolutely. If he throws a no hitter, he's gone.
One of the reasons I like the Yems today was his junior RA is like 4.8, and they had, and they've only got 1 run today. They have scored 3 runs or less in something like 11 of the last 13 starts. So
how about
got to be
this?
frustrated.
How about this? The A's are 7-34. 7-34 when their opponents score 3 runs.
There's no one in that lineup that scares you. Laureano maybe when he's hot. That's
they do have 3 hits.
If I told you the numbers of this Oakland team is just they, of course, listen, we all know, and I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, and that is they were tanking. Before spring training was barely started, they were tanking, So
there's no question about that.
Right.
Ready to go to Vegas, I guess, huh?
Well, that's one of the, that, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. God, the Raiders and the A's. So we really have to.
Wow.
Come on, and we welcome you. You're welcome. No, first off, no one's coming unless they prove you're certainly not going to play baseball in Vegas without a dome stadium.
For obvious reasons.
Yes. So, I mean, I shouldn't say we have a minor league team here, and plus,
how long did it take to build the Death Star? It wasn't long, right? Because I remember visiting. It's obviously it's behind the Mandalay, and visiting, and they were building it, and then the next year I came, and it was,
Well, they were on schedule, and it's not hard to stay on schedule, in Vegas because it never rains, So as long as you're prepared to work through the heat, you're going to be fine. You know what I mean? So I don't know how long it will take. A dome baseball stadium, the complications they had, but this one are the same kind of complications depending on where they put it. They talked for a long time about putting it where the Rio is. That they wanted to buy the Rio and use that particular parcel of land because they were going to have more parking. There's no parking at Raiders games. In fact, you're just better off grabbing an Uber and going. The game I went to, we happened to have some nice seats and premium parking spot, but I think it's about probably 5-6 mortgages, for your parking pass. So,
I bet.
Yeah.
It looks like I lost you guys. I can hear you,
Tony. We're froze. It's all froze. I see your smiling face, and I see me look like I'm ready to spit, and Tony looks like to sleep. So I don't know.
Well, he gave out his free pick. I'm on the Astros tonight.
You are? Really?
I just think the line's telling you to take the Astros, and I like the Astros for the series.
Ooh,
I think you're getting paid handsomely to assume that risk.
Are you? Well, here's the problem.
I think so.
Do you think they can really win 3 of these 4 games?
I do.
And do you think that you like them tonight? You like them the way have you seen the numbers for talent against Houston's lineup tonight. I think they're 1 for 37, 1 for 36.
And why is the line pick 'em then?
Well, lines pick 'em for a couple reasons. One, because Houston's still. I wrote on this a little bit, and that is Houston. While it's public, we all know the Yankees are a public team, and they're going to take a great amount of public money. Surprisingly, a large part of their handle in the first 2 months of the season went more this year to totals under the total at Yankee Stadium than on the Yankees comparatively. Why is it that way tonight? Because Houston's Houston. But I wrote that I think this to get the Yankees at $1.20 and change is absolutely stealing money.
Well, that's what made me so. It just seems too easy.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, listen, I was one of those guys that bucked. If you looked at the overnight, everybody and their brother were taking Wood. If you saw the overnight movement on Wood over Wright. Wright hasn't pitched that badly. He's gotten a lot of grief, but I liked Atlanta. Of course, they almost blew it. They had what it ended up being 8-7, 9-8, or whatever it was. It was a one-run game, and I was up one time 7-0 early or 5-0 early. So, but that
the one thing we'll know for sure is every time Altuve comes up to bat, you'll know when he's up to bat. The fans will let you know.
They will.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about out there in Chatland, then just watch the game. And they'll welcome him with more than a Bronx boo, that's for sure.
Yeah, it'll be. It's a game that I'm. The total is what moved most in this game. Went from a pretty flat 8.5 to a juicy 8. I mean, but long story short on that is I like the under in this game too. I mean, the umpire's okay.
I do too.
Umpire's a good fit. The weather, the conditions are a good fit. If you look at the lines, I mean, I kind of bragged a little bit on Tallon's record. If you look at Valdez, I mean, if you look at Vermeer, I mean, Valdez is going to do ground balls. I mean, if that's how he's going to survive this game tonight, he's going to have 5 more ground balls and fly ball outs, and that's how he can win. He's had pretty good numbers too. I think Gallo's like over 12 against Valdez.
Yep.
Let's guess where Gallo is in the lineup tonight, where he should be every night right now. 9th.
9th.
There
you go.
Yes, 9th.
Turn the lineup over. No, but I like that take on the under because I see both these starters going into the 7th inning.
Yeah.
And if they do that, the analytics definitely then increasingly point to the under.
Yeah, and that goes for Jameson too. He's not missing a ton of bats, and he needs to induce ground balls too with this Houston lineup, because they don't strike out a lot anyway. So
Astros are 11-1 when facing a starting pitcher that has won 80% of their decisions in games played over the last 3 seasons. 11-1.
That's pretty good numbers. I would say this. Here's the deal. Houston how many wins does Houston have? They're like 43 wins, right? 43 wins, something.
Yeah.
Right there.
After the horrific start.
21 of their wins have come against division opponents. And they're the only team in their division that has a better than 500 record. They've played 17 teams that don't have a winning record, have a winning percentage record. They have played about the softest schedule they can play. And there's about this Houston team.
Good point.
About this Houston team is that they're not offensively dynamic at all. They're just not. There's not one player that's had a great season of the big 3, for instance, Bergman or Altuve or whatever.
Alvarez is hitting the piss out of it.
Alvarez carried this team for 2-3 weeks. He carried this team. So
and he does pretty damn good in the Bronx too. He kind of shows up there, and I think he is one of the best, if not the best, visiting players over the last 2 seasons at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, really? Well, I'll tell you this. When I checked bat versus pitch, for instance, right? Alvarez has only faced Allen 3 times. Oh, he's 0 for 3. all three were balls hit and play were out, but for the most part, it was Brantley I was trying to think. But Altuve, Brantley, and Bergman are 1 for 12 combined against Jameson, and they have between the three of them, they have 6 strikeouts in those 12 at bats. So it's one of those where it's going to be interesting for certain. I'm that'll be the game I'll be tuning into early for certain. Yeah,
It really feels like a 2-1, 3-1 game.
but I didn't think I was the opposite. I'm contrary to you. I was looking at playing the Yankees in the series because I can get the Yankees. I think I got them at, it was minus 140 or something. What's the series price? I don't know. Let me look at it right now because I thought it was a steal. Except for I'm not a big fan of playing series prices when there's 4 games.
Yeah, because you have to win 3 out of the 4. 3
Right.
game, yeah, it's clearly.
And so basically, I put my money up and if they're only that kind of a favorite, more often than not, it's going to end up in a push. You know.
I'm going to type in one query here before we end the show here.
Very good. I'm
Uh,
going to look up the series price too.
yeah.
What's that? That's pretty. Is that somebody hitting the mic? Is that you hitting the mic?
That's me. I'm hitting my mic by accident, so I apologize for that.
No, it's
I could mute myself.
You'll forget to turn yourself back on.
All right, so here's what I'm gonna probably do this. Maybe not full blown 4%ers, but maybe 2%ers consistently. Some of these will be 4%ers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason not to do it. But listen to this:
All right.
teams that have outscored their opponents by 140 or more runs, playing a game in the month of June, which means they've obviously kicked the crap out of everybody early and often.
Pretty
It's
much.
not like it's August and there are 140 games
Right.
or 140 runs. The record is 23-23. These teams, these juggernauts. That translates to fading them at an average price of plus 170 and a 38% ROI.
Except for you're not getting that on the Yankees. You're not getting
Not
those prices.
tonight, but on
No.
average, that's what it's been over those 46 games.
Well, if it's not Houston, that's probably. I mean, yeah. The series price on this right now, 145. The Yankees are only minus 145, and Astros plus 125 on a 20-cent line. So I think plus 125 to go 3-1 against the Yankees is just not enough return for me. You didn't feel that way, but I just don't think it was enough return for me.
Well, I looked at that.
Yeah.
And I looked at Justin Verlander starting tomorrow.
Yeah, he's not pitching very well.
True, but it's Yankee Stadium.
True, without question. We know he can. He'll step up and give his best college try. But boy, he was
He's going against Severino, so I mean,
he went from being a Cy Young winner again in April too.
yeah.
Is he going to finish the season? You know,
And then you have Garrett Cole going against Christian Javier.
that's a pretty. Let me tell you right now, Cole is just magical. I mean, he was magical against Tampa Bay. Well, if you look,
He figured it out.
Yes, he did.
He figured it out. And
I don't know. He's
I don't
using
have
some invisible. He's using that invisible Blitnikoff stick him. But go ahead.
Yeah. So what I was thinking with this bet is if I get the first 2 of the series wins on Houston, they win tonight, they win with behind Verlander. Then I'm basically house money then, right? If it goes 2-2, I push.
Yeah.
And then I can play around with that money line based on that query I told you about that is 23-23 with, and it's basically fading a favorite of that average is 175. I got to think that Cole will be 165 at least.
Well, Verlander's only going to be Verlander will be $1.15. I think that's what I mean. Plus 110, plus 115. Severino at the most will be minus 25, right? At the most.
Yeah, I'm seeing it minus 110 as a.
Oh, there you go.
possible
Okay,
opening.
I haven't looked. So, if that's the case, then you're not going to get you're not getting much of you're not getting.
But then Garrett Cole against Christian Javier. What do you think that's going to be? I mean, Cole's going to be at least 165, right?
Cole will be. I think a lot of it has to do with how Verlander pitches, believe it or not, or how Yankees perform. Obviously, the night before that has something to do with it. But you're right, I think. And then who's pitching for the Yankees on Sunday? Probably going to be. Who would it be? Oh, I bet it's not Montgomery, is it? No.
I think it is, isn't it? No, it's Nestor Cortez.
Oh, it'll be Nasty Nestor against
Probably Jalen Beeks.
No,
McClanahan.
You're
I'm wrong team. Wrong team.
Yeah.
Wrong team.
Yeah, Yerquity.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that will put. And let me tell you something. In that one, Cortez will be $130. So $140.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then if I do win the first two, then I can play these money lines.
Yep. Nestor got hammered in his last start. He started, he'd overperformed. A guy who pitches to contact like that and a fly ball pitcher had not given up home runs. Well, he did. So there you go.
I mean, it's not the end of the world if the Yankees go 5-5 over the next 10.
No.
But if you fade them, that's going to be a boatload of little cash there. With you could go 4-6. Well, Yankees could go 6-4 and you'll still make money.
What's
fading them?
Their record right now, before we go, their record right now is 51. What is it? It's 51-18, right? I think that's right. 51-18. Okay.
Fastest in the last 20 years, at least, to 50 wins.
Okay, so they've played 69 games.
Yep.
And that leaves about 93, whatever it is.
That's correct.
Okay.
93.
My math, man, that's pretty good for me. 93 games. What if so to make that 105 that the doctor was speaking to, okay, they have to win 54 games. So if they have 93 left, 54 makes them 54-39. No, whatever it is. Okay, what's the record be? Long story short,
54, 9, and 39. Yeah, 15 games over 500.
Okay, if the Yankees go 54-39 the rest of the season, and you played them blindly, you're going to lose a buttload of money.
Right, and that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes, you're right.
Yep, and that's what I'm looking forward to trying to exploit.
Now, here's the problem: if you play the dog in those games and they go 39-53, you're going to win. But it may seem like, damn, I took the Yankees down, 39 times, and that's all I got back. So,
Well, I think you have to also
you'd be selective. You can be selective.
150.
Yeah,
that's better than when it's not.
Yes, I agree. If you can, there's some blind players, or there's some stats and trends and situational records that I've been on shows with, even with guys from WagerTalk. If you do this blindly, this can be this. And I always say to you, well, that means, and they're talking about the league as a whole. Let's, for instance, minus 200 teams that close minus 200 on the money line in Major League Baseball have over the last few years have a pretty good record. And
in years past.
Yes, they have. And they talked about this, and I said, well, yeah, but that requires, listen, here's the problem with it. It requires that you play every single game the way you're presenting this. And then one of them argued, no, you can eliminate this, and this. And I said, no, you eliminate this, and this, and you're asking for trouble. If you're if you're basically on the whole, if you're in on the whole enchilada.
That's backfilling.
Yes.
That's fitting the data to make it look good.
Yeah.
And that is a.
And I'm not there. That's not me anyway. So.
It's one thing to take, like we just did here, teams that are outscoring their opponents by 140 or more in the month of June.
Right.
I just added favorites then of minus 150 and more.
Yeah.
Similar results, less games, 20-18, positive record, but you got your head handed to you if you bet the favorite.
Yeah.
That turns into a 41% ROI if you fade them every single time.
Yeah.
So that'd be basically a plus 140 dog. Let me just quick change it to 160, and then I'll let you go because I know you have to get ready for that show.
Yeah, what time am I supposed to be? 3:45.
6:45. Right? Yeah, you got an hour.
3:45. I got an hour. I got time to play around 9 holes golf real quick, don't I?
Oh yeah, there won't be anybody playing. It's too hot.
I can drive the green.
This gets better. Favorites of minus 160 or more. So I'm doing a dog of 150 or greater. The favorites 18-17, and it's a 47% ROI. $100 better loses $2,100 on an 18-17 record.
Yeah,
that's a case study for beginning bettors in baseball.
Yeah.
Why you should not bet, let alone 200. This is minus 160.
This is why people, why beginning, should say novice, but let's just say inexperienced gamers give up on baseball is because they said, well, because they don't understand how, while money management is very important across the board, no matter what sports you're in, money management in baseball is absolutely mission critical to success. Not at the end of the season, it's mission critical success to your bankroll 1 month into the season. So you better, better be really careful.
The other thing people don't understand, I think, with the money line is, I've often said this to my bowling comrades most of the time because they're asking, a gazillion questions on league night. But you take a minus 200 favorite in baseball, and I think what I've learned is the public thinks that is like a minus 10 double-digit favorite in the NFL.
Right.
But
it's not.
Minus 200 is like minus 4.5.
Right.
So maybe not even that much. It might be just minus 4. But that's my question to him. Would you look at a football game and think that a favorite
that's a lock
on the road is a lock?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they say, of course not. Well, then why would you think it is so in baseball?
Yeah. And that, I think it's a very good way to explain it. I always explain to this. I said, if you lose one minus 200, I was asking this, how many games do you have to win in a row to not just get your 200 back, but have a profit? How many? And obviously that's dependent on who you're playing, what the money line is, et cetera. But
just 3.
Yeah, exactly. It's just in a vacuum. Let's say you have 3 pick'em games. How many of those pick'em games do you have to win to get ahead? All 3. Yeah. So if you have to win 3 to every one minus 200 to make a little change, then you got 2 choices: have a big bankroll, or don't play minus 200. Just pass right over them.
Yeah,
or there's other ways to play minus 200 teams, John. I tell them all the time. There's team totals. If you like the team to win and you think it's going to be then just play the team total of minus 200. You get pretty much you're going to get a 20-cent line. And if they don't make their team total, there's a good chance they weren't going to win anyway. There you go.
My favorite way to do it.
Well,
I don't bet the game at all if it's minus 200. But if that dog scores 1 or 2 runs in the first couple innings, then that's your golden opportunity to bet your 200 favorite.
Well, I will tell you this: I've already played. I will stream a team periodically. I've been pretty lucky so far. I think I'm 5-1 in the dance stream. But I play
nice.
I probably won't play a money line on them, but I play a minus 1, minus 1.5, and a minus 3. And in most cases, my minus 3, I'm going to get between $1.60 and plus 160 plus 200 or more. And I've been very fortunate. Every time I've done it, only once out of the 5 have I not covered the whole stream. And in baseball, it's funny. There are certain teams, that have they're dynamic enough to win by 5, 8, 6, 7 runs in a game. Whereas there are teams that win on a consistent basis, may hover around 500, that when they win by 1, win by 2. Right. They outpitch you in the last 2 or 3 innings, that kind of thing. And you have to avoid those teams. But the alternative lines, if you have a formula that works, it can be fun and it can be profitable. So there you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Johnny.
Montaz has he's through 7.
Is he really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would have probably been on. I looked at this game and I thought. I just thought that even the Mariners, no public wrecking ball. They're not going to wreck the line. But
I can't say who my premium clients are on, but I'm pleasantly surprised.
I will say this, and that is the Cy Young winner. I thought would have been more than $1.30 against the A's, and if I give you the numbers on these A's, you will absolutely fall out of your chair if I told you.
It's terrible.
It's not just terrible. It's embarrassing. I think more than it's embarrassing.
Again, the model said to do X, and I looked at it and I thought, you know what, this is a spot where it makes sense to back the worst team in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
The game's not over yet. Seattle might win 6-1.
But I didn't. And there's no one. I didn't think I could back the worst team. But I want more than $1.20.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's what.
But that's what got my attention is that they were only 120, just like Houston's only plus
Okay.
105.
How about this? Just real quickly too, before we go, is that the A's have been beaten. They're 3-15 in June. That's Oakland's record coming in today. 3-15. They've been beaten 14 times by 5 runs or more. And they've been shut out 9 times. 9 times. They've scored a 0 runs 25 times, 1 or 0 runs 25 times with 10 of the 16 games.
It's better than 26.
Yeah. But those are just those are ridiculous numbers. 8-20, 8-27 at home.
Horrid. They are horrid numbers.
Outscored 177-85 at the Coliseum. Wow. Right? Wow.
Yeah. Why did I even give that out?
Well, guess what? I hope you win if that's who you're on. So there you go.
Well, it's always important to have that horseshoe with you at all times.
It's pretty important over the course of the season to get fortunate. You got to get lucky. You're always going to be unlucky. My not only is do everything in moderation excessively, but I can never, don't wish me luck. I don't want anyone to wish me luck because the only kind of luck I can have is bad luck. Why? Because I'm always right. There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Confucius here on the show.
Do not wish me luck. Do not.
Yeah, have a good night, Tony.
Okay, but yeah, right.
Hey,
well, if you're gonna, say good luck. If you're gonna wish me, I wish you luck. Don't know. Be specific.
How about all the best? I like saying all the
Be
best.
Be specific. What kind of luck do you wish me?
I don't know what your interests are. What if it's a total stranger? You know?
Right. Well, that's my point, right? Because if you,
my interests might not be anywhere closely aligned to that person's interests. I might not
my
like what they do.
My interest is surviving the day, having a penny, a nickel, maybe a quarter, to fight again tomorrow. So let's do it.
That's it. All right, man. Have a good time on that show, and always remember, we always sign off with this slogan: bet with your head, not over it. And that includes the Sixers general management. Hopefully they'll do something good tonight. And may all the wins be yours.
I'll take them. Let's go.
See you tomorrow.
All right, man.